All right, so welcome back to At the Table with Claudine Hicks, where conversations become transformation. So today is day 21 of our 31-day Kingdom Recalibration Experience, and this conversation is deeply aligned with the work I carry even myself as a freedom coach. And so over the years, I've learned both personally and through walking with others that freedom doesn't come from erasing the past, but it comes from allowing God, or inviting Jesus, I should say, to rewrite your story. And so, I'm honored today to welcome Pele Hunkin, or Pele Hunkin, to the table today. And I'm going to share a little bit about her before I invite her in to share, okay? So Pele is a retired U.S. Army combat veteran, a #1 international best-selling author, transformational speaker, and doctoral student in spirit-led leadership, a proud Samoan warrior woman, devoted mother of 5 and grandmother. Pele's life is a testimony of resilience, healing, and God's redeeming grace. Having survived a heart attack, multiple strokes, addiction, and divorce, she boldly declares, "I am not my diagnosis." As the founder of Pele Inspire and creator of Fly, First Love Yourself movement, she empowers women, veterans, and warriors to heal, rise, and walk boldly in purpose. Pele, welcome to the table, my dear sister.
Ooh, Lord, have mercy. I just want to say thank you, sis. Thank you so much for your platform.
Mhm,
I always want to give God all the honor, praise, and glory because if it weren't
mhm,
for Him, we wouldn't
mhm.
have this divine connection. And so I thank you for this
Yes.
platform to be a blessing to your community. So, yes,
Mhm.
here we
Yes.
are.
Yes, here we are. And you all, me, Pele and I actually did a book together. I forgot what, is it Your Best You? Was it that the book we did
I don't
together?
even remember what book
Yeah,
we.
we did an anthology together. So that's actually how I know you, or we were connected through Pamela and yeah, yeah. And so
Yes,
that's
I think it was your next best you.
yeah, that's how we kind of got connected. So truly grateful for divine connection. And Pele, I never take it for granted. I mean, I reached out to her because I've said it before that there are some people the Lord have highlighted when I was going to do this project, and she was one of them. And I was like, but I don't really know her. But it's not about me. Do I even know her? But knowing her spirit and knowing what the Lord's being obedient to the Lord. And so ever since I reached out to her, we've been connecting like every single day. She'll send me a text or something, and it makes me smile. And so truly grateful, and I can call her sister. I'm truly, truly grateful for her and her ministry. Truly grateful for you, sis. And so
I'm
we're going to
grateful for you
dive.
too.
Thank you so much. We're going to dive in. So the title today, and because I'm not too sure if I said it, the title of today is "Letting God Rewrite Your Story." And so what happened with the experience or the project is I sent titles to to the speakers, and I'm like, choose. I want you to be led by the Spirit. And this was the one that Pele chose, "Letting God Rewrite Your Story." And so Pele, when you think, let me ask you, why did you choose that title? Let's start with there. Start there.
Mm, I say I went through all the titles and
Mm-hmm.
that was like waving at me.
Mm-hmm.
And I said to myself, I always believe that, I'm a living proof, I have a testimony, to share,
Mm-hmm.
that my testimony is a blueprint, for someone out there. And I said, I wanted someone to believe that, no matter what we go through in life, that to
Mm-hmm.
trust God and to know that He continues to rewrite your story. And I say that
Mm-hmm.
for me because I have been through so much.
Mm-hmm.
And throughout, I would say I'm on my 4 years of this Fly First Love Yourself journey.
Mm-hmm.
And God has continued to rewrite my story. And so that's
Amen.
why I chose,
The title.
let God rewrite your story because I had to trust Him,
Mm-hmm.
to rewrite my story.
Yeah. So for those that don't know you, I mean, I know a little bit about your testimony because, like I said, we've been in similar circles. Share with the audience, if you want to, your testimony.
Yeah, so first of all, I want to say talofa to your community. And so talofa is hello in my Samoan language. And so,
Hmm.
yes, I I don't know where to start, but I want to say, Father God, I just want to
Hmm.
give you all the glory. and all the honor for
Mhm.
me to be able to tell
Mhm.
my story and to share God's glory. And
Mhm.
so my story started off with this book right here,
Mhm.
Heart of a Warrior, The
Mhm.
Humble Journey of a Psalm 1 Warrior. So I had lost my husband, my children's father, over 19 years now. And
Mhm.
so when I was dealing with that grief, I thought that was the hardest moment of my life. But, when I lost my parents, that was even harder for me. I've
Mhm.
always known that I always say to myself, I look like my parents. Growing up, I've known that I look like my parents. But I know for a fact now that if something were to happen to me tomorrow,
Mhm.
I would say that I will die knowing that I
Mhm.
will be looking like the choices I've made in life and the
Mhm.
choice to
Mhm.
choose me,
Mhm.
the choice to choose life. And
Mhm.
so, from grief to I became an alcoholic. As a matter of fact, I would like to share a picture.
Mhm.
So this was a picture of me in 2018. Can you really see it?
Yes, I can. Yes. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
this is me now, but this was me then in 2018 when I was lost, when I was broken, when, I was trying to find myself. And
Mhm.
I'm grateful to, I'm always, I love who she is, who she was.
Yes. Yes.
I'm grateful
Yeah.
for who she was because she
Mhm.
introduced me to who I am today. And so I
Yeah.
just want to encourage someone out there to be grateful for your yesterdays. Be grateful for who you were
Mhm.
yesterday, because it builds you to who you are today. So that
Mhm.
was, in 2018, but then in fast forward to 2021 was
Mhm.
when I went through a divorce. I remarried 10 years after my
Okay.
husband passed. And, and I want to encourage someone out there. It is possible to love again. Yes, I
Mhm.
found love,
Mhm.
and I believe being uh, addicted, having that addiction to alcohol, had something to do with, my divorce. And I'm very
Mhm.
transparent and authentic with my journey. And I will
Mhm.
always, share that story. And so, yes, it's possible to love again.
Mhm.
It's unfortunate that, it didn't work. And so after that, that's when I found myself. I had to work to find myself. I had to say, I had to love myself. I had to find
Mhm.
who Pele really is. And so I go
Mhm.
by Pele for short in Samoan. And so Pele means sweetheart or dear in Samoan. But throughout my fly journey, I've given Pele a more deeper meaning. And so now Pele
Mhm.
stands for persevere, enough love
Mhm.
everywhere.
I love that.
Yes. And so
Yes.
yes, persevere, enough love everywhere. And so I went from grief, losing my parents. Well, I lost my eldest brother yesterday, which Ulises'
Oh,
anniversary.
good.
It's been 29 years since my
Mm.
brother passed, and
Okay.
so to go through with grief and to overcome. I would say I am gracefully growing
Mhm.
through grief. That's why I
Mhm.
wrote this journal of gracefully growing through grief with the heart of a
Mm.
warrior, because I have, and to overcome divorce and to overcome, you know, uh, alcoholism. So I am proud and I give God all the glory to
Yes.
share
Yes.
that
Yes.
December 28th, I celebrated 4 years of my
Mhm.
sobriety journey.
Mhm.
And
Yes. Yes.
I want to highlight somebody that has helped me.
Mhm.
She's my mentor, Dr.
Mhm.
Dr. Vanessa Guy.
Mhm.
Sorry.
All right. No.
Yeah, so it was her sobriety journey that inspired me. to be on this journey. And I am grateful to her. I'm grateful
Mm-hmm.
to my children. I'm grateful to everyone who's been a part of this journey.
Yeah,
And
yes,
that's why
yeah.
I chose the topic,
Mm-hmm.
God letting God rewrite your
Right.
story,
Yeah.
because God has been rewriting that story. So I went
Mm-hmm.
from grief, to divorce, to alcohol, to
Yes,
and
yeah.
then, in 2023, I thought all that was done after I wrote
Mm-hmm.
that book and everything. But,
Mm-hmm.
I survived a heart attack. You know, I had a heart attack in 2023. They found an 80% blockage. And so I am living off of one stent, a stent to live. And I am grateful to God. I'm grateful to the medical team, and I'm just really grateful because God spared my life with that first heart attack, because my mom had a heart attack and
Mm,
she never
okay.
made it back.
Okay.
And for God to spare my life is a true blessing. And then after that, just last year, I survived three strokes. I had the first stroke in June, I had the second stroke in July, and then I had the third stroke in October.
Oh my God.
Yes, and so the second stroke nearly ended my story because I had an internal bleeding that, you know, I guess to this day, they still can't find, where it came from and
Wow.
how, all that happened. But my hemoglobin dropped down to 6. And so I had to have blood transfusion. And then the third
Mm,
stroke the second stroke caused that internal bleeding, and it caused
mm-hmm.
a blockage on the right side of my neck. And then the third stroke caused a 3.5 millimeter brain blockage on the left side of my brain.
Oh
And
my God.
so I was really battling with my memory
Mm-hmm.
and the weakness to the point where I I wasn't able to wash myself at times. I didn't have the strength. I had 13 steps in my house,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't able to walk up. I had to crawl up the stairs in order for me to get upstairs. And
Oh.
I had to use the walker to get to my room. And I'm so grateful to my children, but I'm more so grateful to my son. My son, I almost lost him
Mm,
in 2020. He had a sudden brain bleeding and brain swelling. And so he's been taking great care of me. And I give God all the honor, praise, and glory for blessing me, because my daughters work and they both work.
mm-hmm.
And my son has been that caregiver, for me. And my fur baby Debo, of course. Yeah, so that's why I really, really
Wow.
wanted to choose that and talk about, God rewriting your story, because I want to encourage someone out there that God is not done with you. Because if God
Yes.
is not done with me, I wanted to share that, because I'm like, I
Mm,
want to share what God has done for me. I want to share his glory,
mm-hmm.
and I want to tell anyone out there that's hearing me to please tell your story. And, don't be stingy. It's not your story, it's God's glory.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's his
Yes.
story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so God has really
Mm,
transformed my life. And I just love where he has me.
mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
love where God has me in my life. So that's, pretty much in a nutshell of all that God has
Yeah.
brought me through. And to believe, you have to believe in yourself. I want to tell someone
Mm-hmm.
out there, believe in yourself, because I believe in you. And so you have to
Mm-hmm.
believe in God, trust the process. It's not an easy process, but
Right. Yes.
when
Yeah.
you allow God to be the sole cornerstone of your life, you know, you can't go wrong. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm just so grateful to so many people in my life. And I don't want to start naming,
Right. Yes. Hmm.
yeah, because then that's when, but to everyone that has
Yeah.
been a part of my journey, I don't care if it's a text or, a phone call or just stopping by and, just being in my life. And I
Mm-hmm.
want to say this, sis, I want you to know that your presence in my life is the greatest gift of
Mm-hmm.
all. And I pray that everyone, that hears my testimony to know that
Mm-hmm.
your presence in my life is the greatest gift of all. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful, for all and who has been a part of my journey. And yes, God continues to rewrite my story because I
Yes.
didn't
Yeah.
think October and November of this past year, I didn't think I would be here. Um,
Mm.
the cardiologist, my third cardiologist, pretty much gave me like the ultimatum of a treatment that I had to take. And me being the sole parent surviving for my kids, I said, I'm gonna try, if that's what he's the doctor, so I'm gonna, take this. And I don't want to regret it, but that was like the worst mistake I made
Mm.
that I
Mm-hmm.
chose because when the first week of the infusion, I couldn't keep anything down.
Mm.
I've lost so much weight, and the second week of the infusion, I ended up in the ER, and they gave me morphine. And sis, I tell you, I just knew I was gonna die that night. But by the grace
Mm.
of God, I'm still here. And that's why I love what I do. And what I do is to
Mm.
inspire the masses and to share. I love sharing and telling my story because I want to help someone out there, to know that, quitting is never an option.
Mm.
And the three questions that I want to share that has helped me with my journey in life is, what is your why in life?
Mm-hmm.
What is your why? And so my why initially, when I started this fly journey, it was all about my kids, And then I said, I said, if I say first love yourself, I said, it's gonna be me before the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so yeah, so I went, from there, it's me, my children, you know, my grandbaby, and my fur baby and all the good
Mm-hmm.
people in my life. That's my
Mm-hmm.
why. The people that God
Yeah.
has placed in my life to pour into, to love on. And
Mm-hmm.
so my second question is your strong, is your why big enough? Yes. My why is
Mm-hmm.
so big that I would have to, no matter what I go through, I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
have to keep on keeping on,
Mm-hmm.
like my sister
Mm-hmm.
Bernice book, keep on keeping on, with the heart of
Mm-hmm.
a warrior. And then the third
Mm-hmm.
question is, um, did I say strong?
No.
Okay, so yeah, so the second one is your why big enough? And then the
Mm-hmm.
third one is your why strong enough? And your
Mm-hmm.
answer should be an absolute yes. So I want to encourage you to write those three questions down. What is your why? Is your why big enough? And is your why strong enough? And that's what's been helping me, along the way, with my journey. And so that's why God, allowing God to rewrite your story is very
Mm-hmm.
important. I just want to encourage someone out there, you're not alone. You are not
Mm-hmm.
alone. And so I tell my friends and my family, hey, as long as God keeps me on this side of the earth, and as long as God continues to keep this old heart beating, that you're not alone. You can reach
Mm-hmm.
out to me, you know, um, and yeah, and I'll be more than glad to help you get to where I am today. And it's all about,
Mm-hmm.
the alignment
Yes.
that
Yeah.
God has. And so with my
Mm-hmm.
journey, I've
Mm-hmm.
learned to set healthy boundaries. healthy
Mhm.
boundaries with people and things that are not aligned with God's calling in your life. And I have
Mhm.
realized that throughout my journey that I had been, I had poured into so
Mhm.
many people that to some of them that can't even hand me back a cup. And
Mhm.
so that's why my fly journey, and I
Mhm.
want to help someone out there, the fly. First, love
Yes.
yourself. Love
Yes.
yourself. I had to love myself enough to be the change Pele wanted to see.
Mhm.
So I want to tell you, be
Mhm.
the change for you, not for your boo, for your husband, for your mama, your daddy. No. What
Mhm.
is that change you want to see in you? And
Mhm.
I want to say that I am very, very proud of the
Mhm.
change that I wanted to see in me because I love the God
Mhm.
in me. And you know that
Yes.
song, God Don't Play About Me, girl.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and so yeah, so that's
Um,
why like this is my big time, transformation and my testimony of what God can do for you. And so I want to encourage
mm,
someone out there, if God can do it for me, he can do it for you. He surely can.
mhm,
It takes a lot of faith, it takes a lot of courage, and it takes a lot of love, but
mhm.
you just have to make that choice.
Yes.
You have to bet on you. You have to choose you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and you
Yes.
will know what is aligning and
Mhm.
what's not aligning, and you just
Mhm.
have to know that. And so yeah, I'm so grateful, sis. Thank you for this amazing, opportunity. And like I said, this is actually my first appearance,
Mhm.
since my strokes.
Stroke.
and
Mhm. Strokes. Mhm.
and it's I'm in a better place now than what I was a year or two ago. I was really battling with my memory. I still am, but
Mm.
I'm a lot better.
Mm.
I'm grateful to God for all that He
Yes.
has brought me through. So, quitting is never an option. So I want to encourage someone out there, don't
Mhm.
quit on you. Quitting is never an option. When you write those three questions down and you just
Mhm.
answer that. You have to really find who you are, and you got to believe that you are who you say you are, and you
Mhm.
are who God says you are. No matter what
Mhm.
people say, no matter what
Yes.
people
Yes.
think,
Yes.
I just want you to
Yes.
know, who cares, right?
Yes.
Because it doesn't define who you are.
Mhm.
And I believe that when people have that mindset, to do God's work and to glorify Him,
Mhm.
you can never go wrong. And you already see
Yeah.
the testimony, the
Yes.
transformation of what God can do for you.
Oh my. How old were you in that picture, Pele?
If this was 2018, I'm
Okay.
52 right now. So
Okay.
18,
Because
19, 20,
because you of course you look so much younger. Well, that's God's redeem his love
yes,
anyway, and his light and his life in you. But
yes.
one of the
And
things
I'm
that you
just
said,
so great. Yes, look,
one of
I want y'all to take a good look at this.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh my
This
God.
was
One of
in
the things
2018.
2018.
2018. And so now 2020, what was
Yes, 20 something
2026?
years.
Yes.
One of the things you said to me that also stood out to me when you first brought that picture out was you're like, be grateful for your yesterdays. Don't
Yes.
forget your yesterdays. Be grateful. And
Yes.
I love that you said that because one of the things I do too, when I do, look back at some things that I had faced, and so what I do to be safe for myself, especially, is I go back with Jesus. I don't go back by myself because I'm not trying to be depressed and all that other weird stuff. So I go back and I look at that place with Jesus, and I'm like, man. He was with me right here. And I think you said that even in your
Right.
message earlier. He was even with me, although I didn't sense him, could feel him or anything, but he was right there with me in, my mess, in, whatever you're facing, whatever those that are watching are facing. What's that right there?
Can you see that?
I can sort of.
Yeah. So That's why I say be grateful, because gratitude transformed my life. And
Yes.
so I had to write about it. So yeah, my chapter 3 is attitude of gratitude. And I said, despite
Mm,
the hard times we experience, there is so much to be thankful for every day. And if people took time out to be grateful for all that God has blessed them with, the
hmm.
world would be a better place. They would also run out of
Yes.
time to dwell on the negative. It
Yes.
is an individual choice to be grateful. However, a daily dose of gratitude keeps the heart
Mm.
open to whatever comes
Daily dose of
our way.
gratitude.
Yes.
That is perfect. Yeah, daily dose of gratitude. Yes.
Yes.
That is so true. Wow. Wow. And so as we get ready to call this to a close, as I mentioned, I believe I mentioned in the beginning that I'm going to have all Pele's information in case you want to get her book, her journals. All that information will be in the description of today's broadcast, so you can get a hold of their journal. Um, is there anything else you'd like to release in the atmosphere and or pray, do a declaration or pray? Please, if you don't mind, please, Pele, do that for us. Please do that for our audience.
Oh, you know what? Can you? I'll be. It's just.
That's okay. That's okay. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Oh,
this
so
was so
since you
good,
say
y'all.
that, I would love to so like I said, I would love to like send it to, whoever want to reach out. And
Okay.
so this is the fly pledge that I came up with when I was going through this. And so
Mm-hmm.
let me put my other set of eyes in, girl. Put them on. And so it says, Fly Pledge. First, love yourself. A
Mhm.
commitment to rise with grace, purpose, love, and the heart of a warrior. And so I, Pele Hunkin, pledge today to fly. First, love yourself, not just in words, but through love and consistent action. Consistency is the key. I choose to honor my body by nourishing it with healing, moving it with intention, and listening when it speaks. I
Mhm.
heal my heart by forgiving what hurt, embracing what shaped
Mhm.
me, and loving myself. I choose to elevate my mind to win. I choose to elevate my mind with thoughts of purpose, love, peace, and power. I release excuses and I welcome discipline and determination. I will show up for myself daily, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard, because I deserve to thrive to greater heights and not just survive. I am
Mm.
not waiting for a miracle. I am the miracle. I am not waiting
Mhm.
for a message. I am the message.
Mhm.
I am not waiting to become a warrior. I am a warrior. This is my
Mhm.
heart moment. This is my heart movement. So I, Pele Hunkin, am ready to fly. First, love yourself with love, grace,
Mhm.
and the heart of a warrior. And so, yes, sis, that's what I want to bless your community with. Connect
Yeah.
with me, and I'll be more than glad to send you this fly pledge. And you're not
Yeah.
pledging to me, you're not pledging
Right.
to anyone. You are
Hmm.
pledging to yourself. You are pledging to
Yes.
that amazing, person in the mirror. And I want to say this to someone from here on out.
Hmm.
Anytime you look at yourself in the mirror, I want you
Hmm.
to be inspired by that person in the mirror. And that person is the bold you, the
Yes.
amazing you, that phenomenal you.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yes, that's what I wanted to bless,
Yes.
everyone,
Amen.
out there with the fly pledge, and to
Hmm.
know that I am here and I would love to connect, with you and bring you to where I am today. And I didn't get here alone. And so I want you to know that you're not alone in your journey, because not
Yes.
only God has been with me throughout my journey, but I have some amazing people, in my life that
Yes.
has been
Yes.
a
Yes.
part of my life. And so, yes,
Mm.
that's what I wanted to share. And thank you. And
Wow.
always know and remember that God will always allow him, give him that pen. He is the author of your life.
Hmm.
Let him trust God with that pen.
Yes.
And that's what I had to do. I had to trust him with that pen, and I had to give it to him and
Mm.
allow him to rewrite my story in where he sees fits and not for me, but for his glory. So, yes.
Amen. Y'all better trust God with that pen so he can go ahead and invite him in to rewrite your story.
Yes.
You hear what
Yes.
Pele said?
Yes,
Pele,
girl.
thank you
Give it
so
up to
much.
him.
Man, such a powerful testimony. I'm telling you, when she was sharing with me, I think last year about the strokes, I was like, the strokes. And then our conversation, I was like, but she said she had a stroke. And I mean, just your faith, the joy you have, what I would not believe that you were someone that just faced just some traumatic, some crazy, some stuff, some medical stuff, just different things in life, just life. And so I truly thank God for you. I thank God for your spirit, the faith that you have in the Father. Listen, we all need that faith.
Yes.
Truly, truly just grateful for you, truly, and for your
I'm grateful
family.
for you. I'm
Yeah,
grateful to
just,
God for this divine connection. I know
yes,
we haven't,
yeah.
that's the thing that I love about the connection that we have is
Mm-hmm.
that it's like I never met you in person,
Mm-hmm.
but my heart has already met you. And
Yes,
so we had
yes.
our hearts
Spirit,
met
yes.
already, although
Yeah.
we have not met physically.
Physically, yes.
And that's the beauty of
Mm-hmm.
this divine connection. And I am so grateful to
Mm-hmm.
God for it all.
I am too. I am too. Wow. Well, you all heard Miss Pele. As I mentioned, y'all better give Jesus the pen. Invite him in and
Yes,
give him the
give it
pen
to
to
him.
rewrite. Yeah. Yes. Wow. Pele, again, thank you so much for your yes. Um, Thank you so much, even for sharing the why. What is your why? Is your why big enough? Is your why strong enough? Even that part of it was just, it's something else for us to even, to really think about. And for the audience, really sit and ponder those questions, really sit with those questions she asked and ask yourself those questions. So Pele, like I said, once again, it's so good having you here. I know it's not going to be
Thank
our
you.
last connecting like this, at least. I know we're
Oh
going to be
no.
texting again and texting and laughing.
Yes.
You bring so much joy to just everywhere you go, and I'm truly grateful to God and just declare, like I said, life over you and long life and a healthy life, in Jesus' name.
Yes,
In
it is.
Jesus'
In
name.
Jesus' mighty name.
Yeah, his mighty and awesome name. All right, for those that are watching, once again, I want to thank you all for joining today's conversation. All of Pele's information, as I mentioned, and also the creed that she did, or the pledge, I should say. I'll have all that information there in case you'd like to get a copy of
Oh,
that
sure.
pledge.
I
Okay.
will.
All right. So once again, you all, it was a one. We thank you so much for being here with us. We had a great time. Like I
Yes.
said, a
Thank
great
you.
conversation. And until next time, I will see you all tomorrow. Thanks again
Yes.
for
Bye
joining
for
us at the
now.
table.
I love
Bye
y'all.
bye. God bless
I,
y'all.
I love you,
Shalom.
sis. Thank you.
Stay right there. Don't